Good morning, everyone. For those of for those of you that don't know me here, my name is Shedrak, and I go with my cyber name is Shaydee Coder. So, um, I'm a software engineer and a technical writer. So, with us in the house this morning, we already have our two guest speaker online already. We have Ayesha Khalid and Uncle Bigbay. Uncle Bigbay is a customer success engineer at Ashnode, and he's also a software engineer like myself and a freelancer. And we also have Aisha Khalid, the the CEO and founder of Ashnos. She's also a freelancer and an SEO content writer. Aisha Khalid, are you still online?
Yeah, I'm
Okay. Can you do a brief introduction of yourself?
sure. So basically, I'm Ayesha Khalid, as you all know now, and I have been working on different freelancing platforms for the past 5 years now. I provided my services on Fiverr and Upwork, where I write content for my clients and do the SEO of their websites. Besides that, I run my own blog, Ash Knows, where I share tutorials and articles related to how you can earn money online. They are basically oriented to freelancing, blogging, and content writing. So, besides that, I also run a YouTube channel where I share the same kind of stuff. So, the
Okay.
main thing that I do is freelancing and blogging. And I have clients all across the world, and I'm having a stable freelancing career because of content writing and SEO services.
All right. Thank you very much, Aisha Khalid. We're happy to have you on this
Right.
call. Uncle Big B, can you also do a brief introduction of yourself?
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Shaydee. Good morning, everyone. My name is Uncle Big Bay. I'm a freelance software developer from Nigeria. I also work with Ashnode as a customer success engineer as well. So basically, I write documentation for Ashnode, and I also provide support for our users. So I started writing for about 2 years now in Ashnode as just for hobby, like just something I enjoy. And then I realized that I can actually, get paid for writing. So that's where the journey began. And I'm really happy to be here and share some things with you regarding technical articles. Thank you, Shady.
All right. Thank you, Uncle Big B. So also we have Mr. Chris Imoni in the house. He's one of the hosts too, and the third host is not feeling too well, so she won't be able to join us on this call. Mr. Chris, can you also introduce yourself briefly?
Okay, hello, good morning, all. Thank you for joining. Yeah, another edition of our monthly webinar. So, my name is Chris Imoni, and I currently work as a software engineer. So, my specialty lies in Java, so focus on backend development. Although in the past I've worked with other stacks like little bit of Python, JavaScript, but currently I work with both .NET and Java. So yeah, that's all about me. And like Shedrack mentioned, I'm one of the hosts. So we see this as an opportunity to expose people. This webinar that we organize, we see it as an opportunity to expose people into tech. By inviting industry experts like Uncle Big Ben and Aisha to come on board and just share ideas and knowledge on their careers so that others, including myself, can learn from them. So, yeah, thank you.
All right, thank you very much. So, our first speaker, which will be Aisha Khalid, she's just only going to be spending 1 hour with us. So, Aisha Khalid, what do you have to share with us today?
So basically, where do you want me to start? Like, what should I share first?
Okay, so on the registration form, a lot of people asked questions about Upwork and Fiverr, but before we go into Upwork and Fiverr, what is SEO content writing all about?
So basically, there are two things. Like, first of all, there's content writing. That's a simple thing. Like, you write content for your client and then you deliver it. There's nothing like keyword research and doing other stuff. Just simply write your blog and then you deliver it to the client. But when it comes to SEO content writing, everything is different. First of all, what you need to do is you have to find keywords for your clients. What are those keywords? Basically, when we are writing a blog, we use some certain terms that can help our clients rank their website, rank their content on Google, right? So that's what we do in SEO. We find keywords for them first. And the keywords are of the type that have low competition and high search volume. Like we try to target the kind of keywords that can generate sales or traffic or more leads to the clients depending upon their goal. We search that kind of keywords and then we include those keywords in our content. That's what we called SEO content writing. What is the benefit of SEO content writing now? So basically, this SEO content writing helps our clients to rank their websites on Google and generate business from them. That's why this content writing is so much in demand today because it is helping a lot of people show up on Google and increase their business presence or generate more awareness about their brands or products or services. So that's what we do in SEO content writing, right?
Okay, thank you very much, Aisha. So, for a beginner that is just starting up as a content writer, what tools will you advise them to use to search for keywords that can rank on Google or any search engine?
What would I advise? Basically, I would advise them to just practice. First of all, I'll advise you to start your own blog. You can start it for free on Medium. Like what I did, I started my own blog on Medium when I was just starting out. So I wrote some blogs there just to get the experience or just to get the idea of blogging. So I just started my free blog and started writing articles there, right? So when I got to know that how this blogging thing worked, I then created my own blog, Ash Knows, and then I started experimenting there. Right? So first of all, what you need to do is create your own blog and then learn about how to do keyword research. You can follow certain blogs for it. I followed some blogs, some Indian blogs. Basically, I'm from Pakistan, so I preferred to follow certain blogs that come in my uh, in my niche or in my area so that I can understand them better. So I followed Shout Me Loud, Neil Patel, and Backlinko. I followed these blogs, and then when I learned about keyword research, I started implementing it on my blog. Ash knows. I found certain keywords like the first keyword that I ranked on Google. It was about, do you need a degree to be a freelance writer? So it was a very long keyword, but when I learned how to rank a keyword in Google, I started with this keyword. I use the tool Keywords Everywhere. It's a very basic tool. It was free at first, but now they have made it premium, but it's at very low price. You can purchase it, right? Or you can go for Uber Suggest. That is a free tool. Go for it, and then when you read a blog or watch a video on YouTube about keyword research, experiment it on your blog, right? As long as you're experimenting, you are learning. SEO is not theoretical thing. You cannot learn SEO just by reading the theory. You have to experiment things. As long as you're experimenting, you are learning, right? First of all, you learn the keyword research, and then you learn how to add those keywords in your content strategically so that they don't look like spam to Google, right? So just make your blog and start experimenting things by following the people who are already doing the same thing.
All right, thank you very much. So you mentioned that as a beginner before they can start content writing or start getting clients on content writing, they first of all have to have a portfolio of their own. Like maybe they can start writing on Medium or Ashnode or any other blogging platform, and then experiment there right first, and then they can also then after they are done with that, then the next thing is for them to learn how to make keyword research and then practice more on their personal blog with whatever they've learned on the keyword research, right?
Yeah.
All right. So, what can you tell us about Upwork and Fiverr? What's the difference between Upwork and Fiverr?
So basically, if you ask me in terms of earning, there's not a I will not say there's a big difference. Basically, both platforms are doing the same thing, providing jobs to people or providing sellers to the buyers, right? So there are certain things that are different. For example, on Fiverr, we create gigs and wait for our buyers or our clients to message us or to place orders on our gig. But on Upwork, it's different. We apply regularly to the jobs that they post. Like our buyers post the jobs daily, and then we apply to those jobs. So we have to be active there every day. But on Fiverr, it's like you have just created your gig and then you're waiting for the buyers to message you. If your gig is ranking on the first page of Google, Fiverr, then you will get start getting a lot of orders. So basically, on Fiverr, the strategy is to use the kind of keywords, the kind of terms that can help your gig rank on the first page of Fiverr. As long as you're ranking on the first page of Fiverr, you will get orders. But if your gig is not available on the first page, you will have a hard time getting orders on Fiverr, right? So, but basically,
Okay.
yeah, on Upwork, what we need to do is we just need to apply to the jobs, write certain kind of lines or certain kind of engaging hooks that can make clients read our proposal and so that they know that we are the right person for their job. So this is the basic difference.
Wow, I never knew Fiverr was this easy because at first when I tried Fiverr, I was not too familiar with their interface and how Fiverr works. So I preferred Upwork more to Fiverr. But now that I know that all I just have to do is create gig and then wait for clients to respond back, I think I'll go back and try Fiverr again.
Okay,
So
let me ask a question. So I
okay, sir.
remember like in 2017 where when I doesn't really have a job. So I just wanted to like explore freelancing around that period. So I created like my own personal website, structured it, then the list of the things I've worked on, I arranged it. Then I went on Fiverr and create like my own profile gig. I noticed that nobody was hitting that. So as a beginner, is there a way I can structure my profile in such a way that I can get buyers, people can be drawn to my profile even without having any rating or review from Fiverr?
Basically, I have written a complete ebook on this on Fiverr. I have covered every single topic, like from starting to how you can create a profile to how you can do keyword research on Fiverr or how you can start getting clients on Fiverr. I have written an entire guide on it, and it's free to download. Also, I have made a free series on YouTube, an entire playlist focusing on Fiverr, that how you can start earning money on Fiverr, what are the steps that you need to do, how you can structure your profile, how you can write your gigs, or how you can start approaching clients. So everything is there on my YouTube, on my blog, and in my ebook. All of these things are free to download, free to read. There's nothing premium there. So if you want to learn in detail that how you can structure your profile as a beginner on Fiverr, I guess you need to read that ebook, because I claim that it's the only book that you will ever need to read on Fiverr to become a successful seller. So,
O-
yeah.
Okay, sorry for interrupting you. Can you please share the link to the ebook and the link to the YouTube playlist as well on the chat too.
Yeah, yeah, it's my own Instagram. Like I have pinned that ebook on my Instagram. It's there at the top. You can download it for free, and you will get to learn all about Fiverr. Like I have covered each and everything. Like how you can when I became level 2 seller, people started messaging me that how I did it or how they can do it as well. So it was hard for me to answer every person individually. So I decided to write an ebook. So I wrote an ebook and then published it on my website, and now it's free to download. I have covered every single thing. For it, it's a beginner friendly book. Like every a grade 8 student can also understand it.
Okay, yeah, that would be great. So we'll locate your Instagram. If you can share the handle of your Instagram or maybe your YouTube link on the chat here, we'll be able to follow up and subscribe to your channel.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
And I hope that you'll really find it helpful for all the beginners who are out there trying to make their freelancing career as a writer or even as a developer. This book will help all of them.
All right, thank you very much, Aisha. So, Uncle Big B, do you have anything to add to what Aisha just said concerning Upwork and Fiverr?
Okay, thank you, Shadrach. Um, Honestly, I really don't use Upwork or Fiverr as a freelancer, right? So I really don't, because, like you said, when I checked it out, it was very, very complex for me initially, right? And one thing I like, personally, when I started using them, like creating gigs and waiting for clients, like let's say like even like 3 months, I didn't like up to now, I didn't get any clients, but I think I have a different method of actually doing my own freelance, which I'm going to be sharing during my own presentation, if that makes sense to you.
Okay, yeah, that
Yeah,
makes a lot of sense.
yeah.
Yes, even me too. I still find Upwork and Fiverr very complex. So, Aisha, so on Upwork, I know that when you create an Upwork profile, you have to wait for your profile to get verified first before you start sending messages to clients or start bidding for projects. So, but one thing that is still not clear is how do you know that your profile has been verified?
So basically, what I did was I created specialized profiles on Upwork. It's a new feature that I have introduced um, a while ago. I created two specialized profiles on Upwork, like one for content writing, one for SEO, and one for overall. So when I bid to my clients, I make sure I apply to the specific profile that is related to the job they have posted. So first of all, create a specialized profile. After that, they have now introduced a new feature, project catalog. Add your add your service there. Like it works like gigs on Fiverr. Like you create a gig on Fiverr, you can create a project catalog on Upwork. They both are the same things. So create project catalog on Fiverr, and then create a consultation rate on Upwork. They also have introduced this feature now, and then try to get testimonials from the clients you have already worked with. So all of these tips help really a lot. Like I have added all of these things, and I'm noticing a difference on my profile. So try to create a specialized profile first, and then create a project catalog, set up your consultation rate, and then try to fill up all the sections on your profile, like add your experience, add your testimonials, add a really 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 nice description, add a very specific hourly rate after searching your market trend, like what are the other fellow bloggers or software developers or content writers charging. So set your rate accordingly, and then explain how you are the person who can do the job for them, and how you are the right person for all of their projects. Like try to gain long-term clients from your profile. Create the kind of profile that clients can trust.
All right, thank you very much, Aisha. So I just found your Instagram and I'm trying to send it to the chat, but I'm still unable to get your YouTube channel link. So I'll be very grateful if you can send your YouTube channel link on the chat so people can follow you
Yeah,
on YouTube and then search for the video you told us about.
sure. I'm typing the link here for my YouTube channel. You also can visit it from here.
All right. So, and also I'll be adding the link, your YouTube channel's link and your Instagram link, as well as the ebook link on the YouTube
Yeah, sure.
description
I'm
when I'm
I'm
uploading this video.
yeah, I'm adding all of them here.
All right. Does anyone have any question regarding content writing, SEO writing, and these two freelancing platforms that Aisha just told us about?
So I've shared all of these links here.
Okay. Okay. So, in the absence of no questions, let's move on to the next speaker, Uncle Big Bay. So, what do you have to share with us today?
Um, all right, so I actually have a slide, so I would like to share my screen.
All right, that's fine.
I'll give you a second. Okay, okay. Can you guys see my screen now?
Yeah, still loading. You can
All right.
see it now.
Okay. So you can see getting started with finance technical writing.
Yes.
All right. So I think I've already spoken with like she has mentioned a lot of things about freelancing and content creation and content writing. So I'm just going to be more focused on technical writing because that's what I do day to day. And though I have a different, journey as a freelancer, so I'll also be sharing everything I'm going to be talking about is like based on personal experience, right? So today we are going to be talking about getting started with freelance technical writing, as we all know already. And who am I? And why am I here? And why should you actually listen to me, right? So my name is Uncle Big Day, like popularly known as Uncle Big Day. But my name is actually Ayodele Samuel Adebayo, right? That's my full name. And I work at Ashnode. I think you already know that as a customer success engineer, which I also write there as well. So I also work as a at Side Lab as a content instructor. So I teach people about content stacks. And also I work as a freelance technical writer at Copycat, Webpedia, Node, ImageKit.io, StreamChat, and etc. So so I'm also a technical writer. I've been a technical writer for a while now. Let's see. So the table of content is this, and we are going to be talking about technical writing, freelance technical writing, how we can get started, and how to know if technical writing is actually for you. Because honestly, writing is very difficult, right? And, you have to have that push to keep on with technical writing. And also, I'm going to be answering some questions in my slide as well. So it's just going to be like a question and answer. So I already have some questions there that I'm going to be providing answers to. And then I have some tools and resources that I use personally, and that will be all from me. Okay, so the first thing we are going to be looking at is what is technical writing. So technical writing actually has like is actually broad and it has different meanings to it, right? So let's try to break this down into three with samples based on what I've been writing in the past 2 years, right? The first definition here is technical writing is an art of simplifying technical terms, right? And if you check by the left, you are going to see there is a screenshot of an article that I've written in the past, which is terminology in web and software. Explain. So what technical this part of technical writing is like when you are trying to explain some complex technical terms that you come across or you just learn and then you write an article about them. So in this particular article, sometimes people are going to call themselves a software engineer and a software developer. So what is actually the difference between software engineer and software developer? So I just said, okay, let me write this because it was very, very confusing to me. So when I understand them, I just want to document them, right? So that other people can know. And also, it will show that if I can explain it, that means I know it already, right? So that's one part of technical writing. And trust me, when I wrote this article, I actually don't know that what I was doing is actually technical writing. So I just wanted to document what I just learned. So this is what it turns out to be, right? So technical writing is also like explaining like terminologies in web development and or any other tech related concepts, right? And also, we can see technical writing as a process of providing instructions to users on how to use a product. So another aspect of technical writing is like you can write on how to use a product. So let's say, for instance, now as I'm working on Ashnode and our users, we have what we call documentation. Everybody knows what a documentation is. So a
Yeah.
documentation is like an instruction on how to use a product. So you can a technical writing. If you are writing a guide on how to use a product, that means you're also doing technical writing, right? So in this article by the left, you can see data visualization with ChatJS. So ChatJS is like a product, like a package, right? So this article just explains how to use that product. So this is another form of technical writing. So if you're already writing about how to use a product or even how to use Instagram or how to use Twitter, that's also technical writing, right? So it on you, what do you want to focus on? So this is the second definition. So let's check the last one on my list. So the last definition here is that technical writing is the practice of documenting technical journey or experience with a technical tool or product. Because if you check online, you will see a lot of people, you will see a lot of topics around how I become a software developer, how I landed my first gig. All these articles are, they are everywhere, right? All these software stories are everywhere. So it's still part of technical writing because you are documenting your technical journey. So which means like you are telling people, hey, this is my own case, this is my own path to becoming a software developer. And people are also going to learn from it. Because in your article, you are explaining the reason you are to Node.js. You are explaining why you like playing with CSS better than Bootstrap. So it's also, you know, a form of technical writing. So and if you check the article by the screenshot by the left, you see introducing Fidia, easy way to get support and make a living from your creativity. So this article is just like me exploring a particular product, right? And it's also a tool for freelancer. It's a product developed by Nigerian developers. I don't know if you guys have heard about Fidia already. So it just allows you to make payments, right? It allows you to receive payment from anywhere around the world. So I just check out the product and then I wrote about it. So it's just me sharing my own experience on this particular product, right? So technical writing is a form of sharing your experience, breaking down terminologies, explaining it to other people in a very simplified way. And it's also you breaking like you writing instructions on how to use the product. So you can already see like we have different forms to technical writing. We also have different ones, but we just stick to this thing. But what is actually the goal of technical writing? What is actually the goal of technical writing? So the goal of technical writing is to clearly and effectively explain something to us, so that the end user can easily understand and implement the information. So basically, what technical writing is all about is like ensuring that whatever you're explaining to someone, you explain it clearly. You want people to understand this term. You want people to know how to use this product and as clearly and effective as you can make it, right? So if you check the screenshot that is there, this is one of the comments I have on my blog. And this pen, like, nice blog on use Facebook. You made it clear. Thank you for sharing. So if you are receiving this kind of comment, that means that you are doing a very good job as a technical writer. So the overall goal of technical writing is just to explain it in a better version, like in a very, very clear version to your audience. Adding a comment, dropping a comment for you that like your article is very, very clear to them. That means you as a technical writer, you are successful, right? So technical writing is just like explaining concepts, explaining how to use products. It's just explaining. You are just trying to explain. And it doesn't actually matter because it doesn't really matter because you see, if you search for out what is HTML, you are going to see millions of results on Google, right? So why do people keep writing these articles? If, when someone has already explained before, why do people still want to write about it? So the reason we want to write about a particular topic that has been explained before is number one, the way you are going to explain is actually different, right? So, and I'm very, very sure that this person that comments, this is not the first time they are checking out use Facebook, right? So now, just imagine like uh, this comment shows that the article that I wrote, it makes it more clearer for them, right? So, and that's the goal. Even if it's just one person that is going to understand your article, let's just say one person, you only wrote an article, let's say 2,000 words article, just for one person, and the person just comment like, "Oh, I'm very, very clear with you." So that's like you actually achieve your goal as a technical writer. Think like there are thousands of articles on this topic already. Just write your own. Your own language is actually different. Your own writing style is actually different. So just go for it and don't bother if there are already existing articles on a particular topic. So now that we know what technical writing is, it's just about writing technical terms, explaining technical products. So let's just look at what freelance technical writing is all about. So let me confirm, guys. Can you guys hear me? Nigeria network can be funny at times.
Yes, I can hear you.
I can hear you.
Awesome. Awesome. All right. So we'll just take a look at what freelancer is and what a freelance technical writer is. So a freelancer is a self-employed person who earns money by providing services to multiple clients. So what this means is like you are not actually committed to a particular client, like company. You are just working for them based on maybe if there's a topic for you to write, you pick it up, you write, you are collecting monthly salary, or you will be with them 24 hours, or you have to be committed. You have to commit your hours, like maybe your working hours to them. No. So as a freelancer, you are self-employed. So your work is very flexible. And one funny thing about freelancing is if you don't work, you are not going to get paid. So it's not like someone that is working full time that even if you don't work, like you can take a leave, like maybe you are still at the end of the month, they'll still pay you. But as a freelancer, if you don't get your job done, you write one article, you are going to be paid for one article. You write five articles, you are going to be paid five articles. So as a freelance technical writer now, is a person who provides writing services for multiple clients as a small part just meaning like you when there's a job, they will call you, you will write for them, and then you go. So it's not like you write. Sometimes as a full-time staff, sometimes when you are done with your work, even for like a week, there might not be any reason for you to write a new article, and you still get from company A, from company B, from company C. Then there is no payment for that particular month in terms of like wages, right? So that's what the difference between a full-time technical writer and a freelance technical writer, right? And one good thing about being a freelance technical writer is like your work is flexible. You can work with five companies. You've already seen the list of companies that I work for. So if I see like company A doesn't have, maybe I'm not interested in the topic they listed, I can go to company B, and maybe I'm more interested in React, or I'm tired of writing React. I just want to write something on Web3. I can then go to actually Web3 and pick topic on Web3 and write about them. So it's really fun if you are, give you that flexibility, and it gives you that room to explore and learn new things, right? So now that we know what technical writing is and what freelance technical writers are, so let's just take a look at few points. These are just few points on if freelance technical writing is actually for me or for you, right? So, and if it's not for you, there's still a way, you can do it. So, the first point here is, if you are looking for quick money, no, freelance is not for you. Freelance technical writing is not also not for you. So if you are looking like, okay, you want to, you need money, and you need it very very quick, and maybe you are just starting out, especially when you're portfolio before people know you, before you build that trust, because companies don't want to give gigs, or they're writing gigs to someone that maybe that will not meet up with deadline and will not communicate properly or will not deliver properly. So you just have to build that working experience. You have to build your portfolio. It might take like 2 weeks, 1 month, depending on how committed you are to it. So if you are looking for quick money, freelance technical writing is not for you. I've already mentioned it. If you don't work, you are not going to get it, right? So the second point is, if you are not ready to learn and experiment, as a technical writer, especially as a freelance technical writer, you cannot say, this is what my next topic is going to be, because you are writing it for a company. So, for instance, now, I, I'm working for, when I was working with Web3 Ashton, they give us topics to write on. So even if you are not cool, or you don't have broad knowledge on that particular topic, it will be very very difficult for you, right? If you don't want to learn. But if you are open to learning and experimenting new things, it won't be difficult for you. So if they give you any topic, you just have to go back, maybe watch YouTube videos, understand how to apply the concept, other articles, what are other articles missing, right? Maybe they only talk about the negative, the positive part, and not the negative part. So you want to talk about the negative part. So you have to learn and experiment often as a freelance technical writer for you to actually succeed, right? So the next is, if you enjoy explaining things to people, right? So if you feel like you explain things to yourself, maybe when you are coding, some functions are kind of funny, and you are able to explain it to yourself, like write it down on the paper, or you like explaining what JavaScript is to people. You love explaining what recursions or any concept to people, and they will say, "Oh, yeah, I got that." So technical writing is actually for you. So it's just for you to just build up that skill that you already have, and then turn it into writing, right? So if you are open to improve your communication skills. So as a freelance technical writer, or as a freelancer, or as a full-time technical writer, you have to be open to improve your communication skills, because if you are working with diverse people, you are working with, let's say you are working with Ashland, working with Innisfree, different companies, we have different, they will have different culture, they have different communication procedures. So you have to be we also have writing processes, and it is always different. Let's say, for instance, now we are working with two companies. The first company might have a longer writing process before, like maybe you write an outline, you write your article, you have to submit, you have to wait like for 2 months, like 2 weeks before you get the feedback. And then how do you communicate effectively? Like, okay, I need I need the feedback, or if you need extra time, or to learn and experiment with the topic before you complete it. So how do you communicate properly, and how do you communicate in your article as well? Like there are like three forms of communication already. How do you communicate with your clients, and how do you communicate with your readers as well? So you have to be open to improve your communication skills. So, and one funny thing is, you apply what you learn from maybe from their team, what they told you, or the feedback. If you apply it to company B might be like, oh, this is not good for our SEO, or this is not good for our reader. We think this is not good, so let's go with this approach. So you don't have to argue with them like, a big company could be like, this is how just have to, there's a reason for everything, right? So what work for company A might be different from company B. So your communication skills must be open to improve it as well. So the last point here is you have to be passionate about knowledge sharing. So um, it's also related to the third point, but you have to be passionate because if you don't know what you do, you will not do it for long, right? So you must be passionate about sharing your knowledge, even if it's just like 500 words, just to explain a concept. So you must be passionate about it so that you won't just write for a month and then you because the money is not coming again and then you quit, right? So don't go for the money, go for the learning, the fun that is there first, and then money will surely come, right? So getting started with how do you get started with freelance technical writing? I think Aisha already mentioned you need a blog of your own. So you just see your blog as your own portfolio. Someone was asking me like I didn't renew the domain name of my blog of my portfolio rather. So I was like, my blog is more important to me than my portfolio actually because let's say for instance now on my blog I have an article on how to use maybe Web3 packages, how to build stuff on React, right? So if someone goes to my blog, they already know that okay, I can build this. Like you can build this company. You've already worked with you state. You've already to everything. Rather than going to my project and then my portfolio and then seeing just my the project I've done and then they can review it. But what I just see like from my own personal experience is like I get more traction on my blog and I get more gigs through my blog because if I ask them really discover me, they say through my blog, not actually through my own portfolio, right? Even for my writing gigs, my software, freelance software engineering gig as front end developer or back end, it comes from my blog. If I ask them, it comes from my blog. So if there's no need, if I'm not getting any referral or any traction from my portfolio, then I really don't need it for now, right? So I just focus on my blog. So your blog is just as important as your GitHub or as your portfolio. So in my case, I treat my blog as my GitHub where I commit all my experience, what I do, and what I know and what I want to share. So the second point is find a niche, right? So but you shouldn't worry much about this if you are a beginner, right? Because if you are a beginner, you are maybe you yourself you are still learning or struggling with React.js. So don't really bother about focusing on React.js alone. You can exploit things like Bootstrap. You can exploit things like or write things about CSS. You can write about JavaScript. Anything you know at all. You can write about your story as well. So, but as time goes on, when you feel like okay, you already have a niche, like you already know that okay, I want to go for the front end because the reason is like let's say for instance you come to my blog, the first article is about Web3, the second article is about React, the third article is about Angular, and I really don't have any two articles that is of React. So my audience are going to be confused. Should I come back to this blog again or should I come back Web3? I'm really confused. There's only one article I'm seeing on Web3, one article on React, one article on Angular. So I cannot say this blog is my source of, maybe the resources for me to learn React. So that's a reason for you to have a niche, right? So just focus on one thing so that you build an audience around it. So people can always you just turn your blog to like Stack Overflow where they can come and see, oh, has this guy ever written something on this case because I love his own explanation of React, right? So that's one reason to find a niche. So and also you have to be consistent. So consistency is people writing because the more you write, the more people know you, right? So it doesn't actually matter the length of your article. You can write 500 words, 1,000 words, 2,000 words, depending on the topic and how deep you want to go into it, but be consistent. You can post daily. There are times I post daily for like 3 months, though you ensure that you don't burn out as well, but that's what works for me, right? So, and what I learned from this is like what you write today is what will become your experience in the coming months, right? So whatever I've written in the past now is going like that's what I make reference to now. And people actually know me. So people know me for that consistency. So at some point people were like, how do you people will start asking, how do you keep up? So it's okay if you cannot post every day, if you cannot write articles every day, right? It's fine. But you can be consistent. Let people know that okay, you are going to publish two articles in a week, two articles in a month. It is fine. Let people just know that okay, this is how it posts this one article. Maybe one on Monday, one on Saturday. Right, that's fine. So that's actually fine. Just be consistent. It's not like you post one article today and then after 2 months you post again. They will just say, okay, who is this guy? Okay. So that's just the reason for you to be consistent, right? So one important thing I'll share is leverage on social media sharing like Twitter to reach more audience. This is very, very important because if you are writing, you are not actually writing for yourself, right? There's no article that I've actually written that I say, okay, I'll not publish this. It'll just be for me. It'll just be for me alone. Except maybe I'm keeping a note. That's just a note. So anytime you publish an article, share it on social media, share it on Twitter, share it on LinkedIn, share it on your WhatsApp status, share it on Facebook. So since you're actually writing for people, share it. So that's how people will discover your blog. That's how it will also help your SEO as well because when you post your link on, let's say you add it to your Twitter, you add it to Facebook, you add it to LinkedIn, you add it to other social media. So when they search online, it's possible for this tweet to actually come up, and it's also going to help your own blog URL as well. So in terms of ranking on Google search, so you should always post. That's how people will discover you. All right. So the last point here is participate in writing challenges. So it might be difficult for you to actually find that push to to keep up with writing, especially when you are starting, when you're just starting. So what you want to do is you want to engage yourself in writing challenges like writing hackathons. Let's say for instance now on Ashno we currently have an hackathon where you write 4 articles for 1 hour and you also win a prize, right? So we all have different writing challenge on National that you can check out, like crazy bloggers, like 2 articles in 1 week or 4 articles in 1 week that you can actually write and then you get a badge. So the reason you should engage yourself here is like it will give you a sense of accomplishment as a writer, right? And it also helps you to to charge yourself and test yourself on how quickly you can come up with content so that you can identify your strengths. Oh, yeah, I find it more easy to write, also collaborate with other people because you are not going to be doing the hackathons alone. So when you are stuck, you can reach out on Discord and then ask for help
Yeah, I do.
and also ask for review. All right, so I have some questions there, and which I've already answered. Then I will be giving an answer to them. So should I build my blog from scratch? So this question is very very common for people that are actually just starting. They say, should I build my own blog from scratch, or should I leverage on existing blogging platform? So it actually depends on you, right? It actually depends on you. So firstly, if you are going to be building your blog from scratch, it is fun, right? You're also going to be learning. If you know React and Node.js, you can build your backend and front end yourself, and then it's going to be fun actually because you are building the interface yourself as a front end developer or back end developer. It is fun. Building is fun. And if you are building from scratch, it is a learning opportunity for you, like I said, because when you are building your own blog, you are going to be learning new concepts, new technologies. You are going to be using you are going to be adding features that that will make you learn new things, right? So it's also a learning opportunity. So now that we know that building from scratch is fun and it's an opportunity for you to learn. Um, Now the question now is, how long will it take you to complete the blog from scratch and start writing? So let's say, for instance, you want to build a blog. You have a page where they can read. You have to add the comment feature, the React feature, right? So how long is it going to take? So if it takes you like 3 months for you to complete your blog, that means like you are going to start writing in 3 months, and you are very new to technical writing. So if it takes you 3 months to build your blog, it might take you another 1 month to to come up in like maybe your top your first three articles, right? So how long? Just look at how long is it going to take you, and how many features are you going to be uh, like how many features are you going to complete before you start writing your articles. So that's one question you should answer yourself, right? And again, managing your blog SEO to rank higher on Google search results can be difficult or possible if you are building from scratch, right? Because if you are going to be like a keyword, a topic, you want your article to be on the first page. So how do you focus on that with writing? You are building the interface, the backend, then you are writing article as a technical writer, and then you want to focus on SEO as well so that you rank. So it's kind of like, it's getting too much. It's getting too much. It is actually possible, but you just have to look at the timeline and what is actually possible and what is your goal, right? And what time frame do you want to complete all this? So, and another point is regular maintenance. So, if you are building yourself, you have to be maintaining it because let's say you just have maybe you just feel like okay maybe 100 people will be coming in a month, and then you just realize like okay one of your article people love it, and then you have like 5,000 views and 5,000 people are commenting. Things might break, right? So you have to scale it and maintain it as well. So if you are maintaining your blog yourself, you also focus on writing. So check can you undo all these tasks, regular maintenance and then coding as well. So and now another point is feature complete might be impossible, and that is true because if you are building your blog from scratch, you want to if you cannot be better than everything blogging platform like Archnode, Medium, you have to be very very good because of user experience. Because if they come to your blog and maybe your color is not really nice, the font there's no comment section, it's not working properly. Maybe something is missing. Maybe the server is down at some point. You are doing your own self host. So all these features might not be actually complete, and it might affect the user experience on your blog. So that's one of the reasons you might not want to be from scratch. And also keeping up with writing and building. So I've already mentioned these samples of time from my point. So how do you keep up with writing and also building your blog? So these are the reasons you might want to build from scratch and reason you might not want to build from scratch. Okay. So another question is where can I blog instead? So if you feel like you don't want to build from scratch, so where can you blog instead? So you can publish your articles in any of these blogging platforms. You can post on Ashnode, Dev2, Medium, Showcase, DevDojo, and Tailfeed. So the reason you want to blog here instead is because they have a team that actually focus on writing the code, like building the code, the SEO, and the comments feature, the React feature, and they already have a community, right? So actually already have a community, they also have a community, Medium, all of them have a community, and they have audience that they will push your article to, right? So that's where you see people getting 15K views in 2 days, right? So now compare that to your own personal blog. How do you want to do this within 3 months, right? And they've been building all this platform like for over 1, 2 years, right? So if you want to compete with them with your own blog or you want to leverage on them, right? So that's what you should consider. So these are the platforms that you can actually leverage on and start publishing your articles. All right. So where can I get topics? So this is one of the most important questions, like one of the frequently asked questions by beginners, like if they want to, break into technical writing. So actually, topics are everywhere, right? Because we've already mentioned like you can share your experience as a technical writer. You can write about a product. You can write about a feature or a concept in any programming language. You can document learning for example, there's an article on breaking into tech, and someone is actually sharing their story, my story, and things I wish I was told, right? So this is one form of topic, so you can, write something related to it about your own self, right? And you can write about concepts you know or recently learned. So, for instance, best way to learn for self-taught Android developer. So, if you are a front-end developer, you can write the same thing for maybe ways to learn, best way to learn for front-end developer. So you can just write for yourself as a front-end developer. And also, you can write about a bug, right? So write about a bug you just fixed. So this article is from Ola.net. I mean, like you guys should know him from Nigeria. So he wrote about how to fix unknown accounts. You can see the code error as well. So this part of technical writing as well because he encountered this bug and then he published it. So if someone just imagine someone just copy the code they see in their terminal and then paste it online. So there's a higher chance that this article is just going to pop up because that's what the title is actually all about as well. So you can write about the bug you fix as well. So you can start a series on a particular concept for programming. So this series is from Victoria on Arsenal. So a look at React Hooks series. So at React Hooks. If you are looking for anything React Hooks, you can check our blog. So if you need anything on React Hooks, you can always go to our blog to learn, relearn, and then you already know she's all about React Hooks series. Another question is when can I start applying for writing gigs, right? So a lot of people will be like, okay, I've been writing for a couple of months now, but I don't know if I'm actually ready. I don't know what people, I don't know if they are going to give me that gig if I actually apply. So one point is when you've written articles around the product, topic, and concept you want to apply for, then you can, start applying. Because for instance, now you've already written like 5 to 7 articles on the artbooks, and then there's a company looking for maybe a freelance developer to write on the topic, which is like the artbook use case. When you ask for like maybe samples, have you written anything around this particular topic, then you can send it to them. So you already have that confidence, like, oh, I've written like 2 topics on React Hook already, so I should be able to write React Hook and use it, right? So one thing you should not do is don't wait till you are perfect. Don't wait till you are perfect. So my personal experience is like when Web3 came out, I wasn't perfect in Web3, but I was good at explaining things that I learned like anything that I learned, I able to explain it. So I think it was AY in I think it is in Ghana, the popular guy on Twitter. So he wrote his first article for Ashland. So I saw it and I'll use what he explained in that article to build my own NFT. Then I explain how I did my own NFT, like in a different way, because I see he has a longer version, so I did the shorter version, right? So and the editors on National, sorry, that was how I become a Web3 technical writer on National, right? So that's how it is. So you see, I didn't get my own job from maybe Fiverr or Upwork. No, I leverage on my own social media. After writing it, I post on Twitter. Actually, you reach out to me on Twitter, right? So leverage on your social media. That's what works for me. That's my own office social media. WhatsApp groups. That's so don't wait for perfect. Publish whatever you have, and then as you publish, you will feel like you are improving. So by the time you go back to your previous article, you know how far you actually come. So let me confirm again. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, all right. So the last point here is for this question is apply even if you are not qualified yet. So you will learn from the feedback. So don't say you are not perfect, so you don't apply for jobs. So if you apply for jobs, they will just give you feedback. Like, and one thing is like the reason I really don't like applying for technical jobs, like they will not get back, they don't get back. I really don't like they don't just get back. So when you write to them, like, okay, we have this topic, and then like in my own case, I'm not saying like they will not get back to you, but for my own case if you reach out to them and you are like, okay, I want to write this particular topic or I want to apply for this role, what they will be saying is like, okay, at this moment they don't feel like they need this topic or they've already gotten someone or you don't have enough experience. So since I was applying, I opened up work, it didn't work for me, nothing actually, like I'm not getting anything. I would say, okay, let me start selling myself. So that's what I did. So instead of me actually applying for jobs, why can't I just do what other technical writers like they are actually doing what I want to become? Let me do it, show it to the world, and let's see how far it can take me, right? So I started writing, post it on LinkedIn, post it on Twitter, put it on my status, put it on WhatsApp group. I have my own community as well, Bigbay and friends. I post it there. So people will also share. So I leverage on my community. So if I post what they need, they will share. So the recruiter will see it and then will come to your DM, right? So that's what works actually works for me, right? So now where can I get writing gigs? So where can you get writing gigs? So you can see I prioritize LinkedIn and Twitter to Craigslist and Fiverr, right? Because these are actually my own office. These are what works for me, right? So LinkedIn is one of the source for me getting my freelance gig. They will just DM you, come and write this for us. They saw your post. They didn't actually see it on my blog, but they saw my post on LinkedIn and then they reach out. So I've never gotten any gift from Fiverr. I've never gotten any gift from Fiverr. So that might like in my own case that didn't work for me. I have friends that actually get gigs on Fiverr or all these freelancing platforms. But for me, it's just not my luck. So but I get more than enough on LinkedIn, on Twitter, and I don't get on Craigslist. I just have to add it to the list on Fiverr. No, my DM plenty. People will buy you. Just that's just my own motto. If you sell yourself, people will buy you. That's just it. And you can also write to company. You can send them email. You can see this is the last on my list. Like you can write to companies, but they might not actually, reply you. So that's one thing. Because if you write to 100 companies, there was a time that I was just bombarding companies. When I just started, I want to write for you. I want to write for you, but they didn't get back. So instead of me applying for jobs, let me start selling myself, and it's worked for me. So that's one thing that worked for me as a freelancer. And I get my gigs, I write for them, then we say bye bye. If they need me again, they will come back if they love my article, right? So how do you charge? How do I charge? So one difficult thing that I learned is how to charge for my article because I think my first pay was on Ashnode when I received 50 USD for being one of the top writers on Ashnode. So I think I received that for like 4 months, right? Until they stopped. If like they will continue doing it. So that's when I realized like, oh, so this thing actually worth 50 US dollars. So I didn't even know at that time that 50 US dollars is actually even small, right? So when I discover like okay, I can actually get paid for what I'm doing, then I say, okay, how do I actually charge? Because if I charge my clients back then, if I charge my clients 100 US, I'll be like, oh, am I not cheating this company? And they will accept. So I'm not knowing that I'm actually cutting myself short, right? So this is one thing you have to learn as well. So hello, is someone talking?
No, no, we can hear you. Go on.
In for a writing gig, you can charge per word or per article. So these are the two methods I've actually, come, that I've actually encountered in my freelance technical writing. But it all depends on the requirement, the level of research involved, and what method the client prefers. So firstly, the requirements. Maybe they ask you to build a like you have to build with their product. So which require you to build the front end and the back end like stream chart now they ask you to build like a chat application, right? So that's the requirement is very, it requires a lot of time for you to build the front end, the back end. So you have to calculate that as well. And level of research, if it's not used like if it's going to take you like let's say like a month to complete, like how do you charge for that 3 months? Because you will not be doing anything else. It's just their work that you are going to be doing. And what methods the clients prefer? So some clients prefer per word, some clients prefer per articles. So in terms when it comes to per word, so what they do is like they will give you like they'll give you you are going to charge them per word. Like for my case now, there are sometimes the client, I think the client says 0.25 cents per word. So which means like if you write 2,500 words, if you multiply by 0.25, that means you are going to get 625 US dollars for that article. I think someone's mic is on, or is it just me?
Okay, I think it's Aisha's mic that is on.
Okay, okay. Yeah, so that's how to charge per word. So it might be less. You just look at what works for you. Like what works for you and what the client can afford. So you don't have to charge there. You can what like what you really want. Maybe you're charging them higher, like maybe you want to charge $2 per word, and maybe the client just like $2 per word, right? You just want to look at the range. What you can do a research. What are other people charging? How do they charge and stuff like that. And also there are some companies where if you write 3 million words, if they constant payment, right? They will just there's a fixed price for each article you write. So that's all that it is. So some company will give they will pay you so that's how things goes as a freelancer. So you can if you can write like charge per word, it's fine, and you can also if you are okay with per article, it's also fine, right? So that's how I charge personally. So now we've gotten to the tools and resources that we can use as a technical writer. So as a technical writer, there are times that when we are writing, we do we do some grammar errors, right? So we want to ensure that we our articles is like accurate, so we don't have any error in our article. So you can use Keyboard for paraphrasing tool. It's a paraphrasing tool which when you write a sentence, you can just put it there, click the paraphrase button, and then it's going to give you some other options like other phrases that you can use there. So there is Grammarly that you can use for grammar check. So if there's any grammatical error in your article, you can just if you have it installed on your browser, you can just underline it and then it will and correct it. So we also have software SEO. So I think if you are more concerned about the SEO article, someone's mic is on.
It's muted now.
Someone's mic is on. Okay, thank you. Okay, so software SEO is I recently learned about software SEO from one of my new clients. So they just say we should be using software SEO because they want us to see the score of our article. So if you are not actually writing well, you will see score is 100. So and I think the good range is I think 67 to 100. So anything below 67 is not really that good for SEO. So we can use it is a content driven analytics too. So you can use this to as well. So for writing, if you want to write, so it depends on the company as well because some companies they prefer you using Notion, some prefer you using Dropbox paper. Um, like in my own case, Notion, I use Notion for some company. I think there's a company that I use Notion for. Dropbox paper, I remember very well. I use that for Ave and I use that for image kit as well. So Ashnode editor. So Ashnode has a feature where the company can have a blog and then they will have multiple editors. So uh, because I'm used to Ashnode editor, I can write there, then submit my articles. Or sometimes I write on Ashnode editor, preview it, look at how it's going to look like on the website, then copy it, then paste it on maybe Notion and send it to the client. Some people also prefer Google Docs, but it's very rare. You can use Google Docs as well. And you can write directly on your software SEO as well. So you can write and then send the link to your client as well. So these are the tools and resources that I use day in, day out as a technical writer. And also, these are technical writing courses. These are resources to, that you can study. They are free. You can study them, go through them to, learn more about technical writing. So the first one is Google Technical Writing courses. So you see courses on technical writing by Google themselves, right? And there's an A to Z guide to tech blogging basics. So this I found this on free code camp. I think find all the tech blogging, and then you find technical writing. So the technical writing is also when you're writing documentation, but different formats, right? You can see all these API documentation. So if you're interested in that as well, you can check out the documentation on software project. So these are the tools and resources that I'm going to be sharing. So I've come to the end of my presentation, and I want you to remember that technical writing as a developer opens doors to opportunities, and it serves as a means to learn and earn extra cash along with your daily job. So technical writing, you can do it full time as a freelancer, you can do it along with your full time software engineering job. Just takes like maybe 1 hour a day just to write a couple of words, and then you know you earn extra cash as well. So that's the end of my presentation. Thank you so much. You can connect on Twitter, LinkedIn, Ashnote as Uncle Big Day. And then if you have any question, you can ask me. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you very much, Uncle Bigbay. Please, can you share the link to your slide with us on the chat? Some people
Okay.
are asking for the
Okay.
link.
Okay, sure.
All right, so from your discussion, you made mention of um, should you should you build your own blog from scratch or start blogging on a blogging platform? Actually, this question have been on my mind for a while, and then I even posted something about it on LinkedIn. And then I posted that because before I even dreamt that I was going to become a technical writer, because I started my journey as a front end developer and I with no intention of writing. So how did I start my own technical writing journey? My journey started during my first internship, where we were given a task on GitHub to create a README file on GitHub. That was the first time I was using GitHub professionally. And then after our first task, the second task, we were told to write an article of how we were able to complete our first task. And then that was when I was not like, okay, what should I write? What topic should I write? So I did not, we were given 1 week deadline. So for like 4 days, I didn't write anything. I was just still thinking that, okay, what should I write? And they gave all of us the same task, and we're given the same topic to write on, but how can I write my own and stand out from everyone else? So then I discovered that after going through some people's article, and I discovered that many people had one question in common, that a lot of the articles that my other colleagues have written were not answering. And so that was how I decided on the topic I was going to write on. So I wrote my topic explaining those those problems that those people were asking questions to. So I wrote that was after I wrote my article, I started getting DMs and comments, and people were really happy that my article helped them, because some people were not even done with their first task. So with my article, they were able to complete their first task, and I was like, wow. So I can actually be helping people even as I am even learning on my own. But then I stopped writing after my first task. And after the internship ended, I went back to writing, and I went back to the stage where I was now thinking that, okay, now I'm not given a task or a topic to write on. Well, how do I come up with topic by myself? What should I write about? I really want to write, but I did not know what to write on. uh, I just wrote, if you check my Ashnote, you see that my first 2 to 3 articles, you definitely know that this person is a beginner in writing. But you just need to see, my point is, you just need to start somewhere. Once you start, the more you go, you get better at it. You don't need to worry that I'm not perfect yet, or I don't know. When I started writing, I have not even learned JavaScript yet. I was still in I was still in CSS when I started writing, and my first 2 articles were not even about code. My first article was about my personal opinion on whether you should use Bootstrap or not. And then the second one was about loaders on websites, whether you should use them or not. Why are they important? no, they were nothing like, they were not code related articles. They were just my own personal opinions on those subjects. Then, as I started learning CSS, then I realized that there were some topics in CSS that I personally I found very very difficult. That when I was while I was learning CSS, that I could not, that I didn't really understand, because it took me years to understand how to finally build a responsive website using media queries without using any Bootstrap or Tailwind or any CSS library. So then I was not like, okay, I think this is what I want to write on about. I want to explain this topic for people. I want people to understand how to be able to build a responsive website using CSS. And those from that stage was when I now got was when I got, let me say, that was when I now niched down to CSS with an audience in mind. So if you are going to write an article, have an audience in mind. Usually there are always three audience. So they are beginners, intermediate, and experts. So the way you explain concepts in your article determines on the audience you are writing for. So if there might be two articles on the same topic written for different audience, if you read the the same article written for an expert in mind, you get to notice that some things, some concepts might not be explained in details because they expect those audience to already have some some level of experience in that subject, so they are not breaking everything down in details. So if you are writing for an absolute beginner, these people they are beginners, so you have to break every concept down in chunks for them to understand very well. So if you are going to write an article, have an audience in mind you're writing for. Are you going to be writing for beginners? Are you writing for intermediates, or are you writing for experts? And also, you don't need to niche yourself down to audience, because that was how I started. I niched myself down to writing for beginners. But then as I went on, I realized that you don't have to niche down to beginners in every topic you write on. There are some certain topics where I just decide that, okay, this particular topic I'm not going to write for beginners. I want to write for intermediate and expert, because I don't have enough time to start breaking down a lot of the concepts. So you identifying your audience helps you in knowing how to draft your content for that particular topic, whether you should break down concepts or not, and how you explain concepts to your readers. So another thing Uncle Big Bay said that I really want to add my comment on is, should you build your blog from scratch, or should you use other blogging platforms like Ashnote or Dev2 or Medium? So when these thoughts came to my mind, I was like, okay, if I build my blog from scratch, me personally, I don't mind how long it will take me to build my blog from scratch. But those of you that are following me on Twitter, you see on my Twitter, I have a pinned tweet that I cannot even remember the year that I pinned it, but I just pinned it there as a reminder. I was still learning CSS then, yeah. But I pinned it there. I want to be able, by the time I learn React, I was going to build my own portfolio website with a blog integrated to it from scratch. But now that I know React, with the mindset I have now, I don't think I want to, even though I know how to build my own blog from scratch, I don't think, even if I build my blog from scratch, I don't think I'm going to post any article on my own blog that I built from scratch. And the reason is this: what if I become broke and I'm not able to host my website anymore, and then my server goes down? That means all the years of hard work I've written and then published on my own personal article that I built from scratch will be gone if my host expires and then my server goes down. Then what's the point of me suffering myself writing articles when I know that by the time I go broke, my or whenever my server goes down, all my articles will be gone, or or I get ill, or for instance, I'm no longer alive, then all my articles, and when you're no longer alive, who is going to be maintaining your server for you? Who is going to keep paying? Who is going to keep paying your hosting bills, your domain bills, and all that? So that was why I was like, okay, so of course, we are all humans, and I'm not praying that I will die or any one of us is going to die, but this is just a thought that I had in my head that okay, so that means if I die now, nobody is going to continue paying for my domain and my host. And if my host goes down, all my blogs goes down, all my work goes down.
Uh, Sorry to cut you, Shady, but I need to go. I have an urgent meeting waiting for me right now.
All right, thank you very much, Aisha.
Thank you for calling me here. It was lovely talking to you guys. Thank you.
Yeah, it was nice having you too. All right, so after having those thoughts in mind, I was like, okay, so how can I keep my work? How can I retain my work online, and then even after I am no more, or I am broke, but I'm still alive, but I'm broke and my server is down. How do I keep my article or my work online? And I realized that okay, maybe the point is if I have my own personal server that I am maintaining myself with my own money, that is the only time I can have this issue. And then whenever my server goes down, when people search for my work online, they won't be able to find it because it is no longer my server is no longer online. But what if I start writing on platforms like Medium, Ashnote that are not maintained by me, that are maintained by they're a company on their own. And companies, okay, let's not use, I don't know when Ashnote was founded or created. Let's use Google for example. Google have been in existence for years, for decades. So let me not say yes, for decades. And the first CEO of Google is not the current CEO of Google right now. Not even the founder of Google is the current CEO of Google. So if you're writing for platforms for platforms like Medium and Ashnote, there's a very high probability that those platforms won't go down even if they change their CEO, or even if the founder decide that okay, I no longer want to work on this project. I want to build another startup. They can sell the company to another person that will maintain it, and your work will still be safe with them. So that was I just decided that I'm not going to build my own article, my own blog rather, and I'm not going to write or publish any of my articles on my own personal blog. Instead, I'll use Ashnote and then write for clients. Like Uncle Bigbay said, when you write for clients, some of your clients they don't use, even if they are paying you to write articles, they still reference you in those articles as the author of those articles. So that way you know that you're not the one maintaining the server, and your clients also, they might become big one day, that they get to Google stage where they sell the company to another person, and then if something happens to the owner, the company still lives on and on and on. So your work is also on those platforms are safe. So that's my own contribution. Is there okay, Uncle Big Bay? I think there's a question for you on the chat. Somebody asked, how do you get topics to write on?
Okay. All right. So um, I think I mentioned that presentation as well. Basically, there are questions everywhere, right? From your partner experience to new content that that you just learned, or new blog that you just picked. So you can write articles around them. You can create topics from them. Let's imagine that okay, you are working with JavaScript and then you encounter a bug for the first time, and then you're able to solve it. Maybe it takes you like 2 days, so you can write about it, how to solve. this problem, this bug in JavaScript. So that's the topic already. Or you just let's say you just got an internship, so you can say I got an internship. So you can write a package in JavaScript and then check on how to get an you just use the new package for the first time. So you can say how to use package A in JavaScript. So that's how to get it. That's how I get for this about. Yeah.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much. So, is there anyone else that would like to ask some questions? Questions. We're waiting for your questions. Okay. So while waiting for the questions, there are some questions on the registration form. Let me go and check those questions out.
Okay.
Okay. So most of the questions on the registration form and since you've already answered during your presentation, and let me see if there's anyone that have not been answered yet. Okay, somebody is asking that, though you've answered it, that what is the difference between technical writing and a regular article? Uh, do I have to learn tech to be a technical writer?
So there, yes, you have to learn tech. Um, Basically, it depends on what you mean by tech. So tech to me is anything that is related to tech. I don't know. Maybe what you mean by tech is like a can build up. Text to me can be a programming language. Text to me can be a JavaScript package. Text to me can be a concept. So there's nothing like regular article. Maybe because you like everyone just writes it like it doesn't belong to a company or you are not getting paid for it. Whatever you write on your blog is also technical writing. It's not regular blog, except you're writing a normal story like tortoise and lions. So there's nothing like if it has to do with tech, which is technical writing. So because technical writing is that just imagine like you are not employed as a software developer, but you know how to work with React. You can build a make you less of a developer, right? You are still a software developer. So it doesn't matter if you are working for a company or not, or you are being an intern, you are still a software developer. So there's nothing like regular article and technical article in my own opinion. So that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. But another person asked again in the comments
Yeah.
that how can I be a technical writer without being a developer first?
Okay. Yeah. You can actually become a technical writer without becoming a developer, but there's a limit to it. Let's say for instance now, I've been a technical writer for a very long time, right? And then I am working as a database engineer. So apart from um, one of my work that is related to writing documentation, what I do day out is just like interacting with people on how to use Ashnote, right? What I write is how to use Ashnote, how to write articles. So there's nothing hidden there. You can go to Facebook. You already know if you want to make a post, they will click a button. After clicking a button, if there is a pop-up, take that screenshot. What do you want them to do on that screenshot? So you can be a technical writer without even knowing how the website was built, but you are just telling them how to use that website, right? You can tell people how to use like a Google Meet now. How do you create a Google Meet link? That's the topic. You don't have to know how to code, right? Okay, how do you use Twitter? I already mentioned the technical article as well. So you just show people, your article guide people the instruction on how to use a particular product. So you don't have to be like a developer, but you can explain where, okay, step one, how to do this on, let's say on LinkedIn now. LinkedIn can employ you to be a technical writer. Just show people how to use their product. So how do you make posts on LinkedIn? Step one, log in into your LinkedIn account. Step two, go to the feed page. Step three, click the box, type your content, add picture. You cannot add more than one picture, and all these basic things. So you really don't have to become like a code-added developer. You must know how to code. You can still become a technical writer without actually knowing how to code. Yeah, but there's a limit to it.
Yeah. I think
Yeah.
this your answer also is the same for the person that asked that is it possible for somebody to be a technical writer in a medical pharmaceutical field? So I think in that aspect, since you're in the
Okay.
medical pharmaceutical field, they just basically have to write about anything in the medical and pharmaceutical field and the
Mm-hmm.
equipment that they are using, how to use those equipment, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Exactly. So I don't know if there's anything like medical writing. Medical writing.
Okay. So I saw one question down there. Mm, okay. I can't find it again. But we are still waiting for those of you on the call. If you have any questions, please let us know.
If you have any questions, please feel free to ask.
You can unmute yourself and ask.
Okay, so I think I have a question here already in the chat. So this person is saying, okay, if being a developer is important to write or go far in technical writing, where do I start from as a developer? What would you advise I start from? Right. So my own journey is I've always been writing like all these total stories on Facebook back then. Right. So I have like an idea of how to write, but I don't know how to write. I don't know what technical writing is actually. So now, if you want to start now, and maybe you already know how to, come up with stories, you can start with whatever you have at hand. You can start with whatever you have at hand. If it is CSS that you're learning now, right? Start writing about CSS. For instance, you know the difference between inline and block elements. It might be like a little concept, but if you write this topic and you simplify it very well, you'll be surprised by the numbers of people that your article is actually going to help. That's one thing. There are some topics that are just like, okay, let me just write this thing for fun. And then a lot of people will be like, wow, like you really broke it down. Like you broke it down. So your own article will definitely be different from other people's articles. So you start with whatever you have now. So if you are just starting out with HTML and CSS, there's actually this experiment that I'm actually doing back in my hometown. We organized like a 4 week coding boot camp. So I was not like, okay, I'm always busy. I don't have time to like teach them. So we employ people to teach them. So anytime I go, I was like, okay, I've been telling these people I'm a technical writer. Okay, let me just ask them to, let me introduce them to technical writing. There are people that just graduated secondary school, right? So I told them what technical writing is, and they wrote an article, and I was really, really impressed. Like, when secondary school people or primary school people write story like, okay, I am a technical writer. This is the reason I want to become a technical writer. Uncle Big said this and that about technical writing. And as time goes on, when they get to second week and they started learning HTML and CSS, and I say, okay, write about what you learned today. Explain what you learned today. And I'm so surprised, so they work out. So initially, you might not be writing about concepts like what like and those things professional. So you can focus whatever you whatever you know now, just write on it. You already know your audience. You know your own capacity that you are not talking to senior developers. You are talking to junior developers. And there are hierarchies to these things. There are articles that, that I will write that will help people that are also coming. And any article that you write now, sorry, and any article that you write now is going to help a lot of people that are still coming, you know, people that are still going to be joining, the tech world, maybe in the next 5 years, they should come across your article. So I love the point that Shekrak said that you should, publish your articles on this blogging platform, because even after you die, your articles will still come up. But if you are doing it on your own personal server, if you die, nobody is going to renew your this thing. So just start with whatever you have. That's just the point of where to start. So does that make sense to you, Blessing? Let me know if that makes sense.
Somebody said you are big bay indeed.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, blessing. If the response
All right.
makes sense to
Any more
you,
questions? And I
yeah,
hope
there's
I've answered
one.
Blessing's question.
I found one question. So somebody said, "Is it beneficial?" I think this one is regarding freelance. He said, "Is it beneficial to have gigs
Okay.
completely on different niches, like one in content writing and the other in engineering, or should we go for just one for a general profile?" Okay,
Please, can you repeat the question?
I think what the person is trying to say is, um, as a freelancer or an individual, your profile your
Yeah.
profile, should you create your profile in such a way that people would know that you are accepting gigs for content writing and you're also accepting gigs for engineering. Maybe I don't know what kind of engineering, because it didn't specify if he's a developer or another engineering entirely. So, or if you should
Okay.
just
Okay.
make your profile focus on just one niche.
Mm. So that I think that's a very good question. It might look like very, like the small question or a small problem, but it's a very, very good question because I find myself, updating my profile, my headline most of the time because, as a freelancer, you wear many hats, right? You are a content creator, you write little screenshots, code snippets, you share it online, how to, explaining map or any concept in programming. LinkedIn, that your tagline, how do you want to be it? So it actually depends on you. Depends on, I've mentioned this before, you are telling yourself. You are just telling yourself, it's just like Indiana, let's say Uganda for instance now. So they say it's great color art and stuff. Just the same way you are presenting yourself to the world, like you are telling yourself. So if you feel like okay, you are short of the world, people know that engineering job or programming job. So you can now sit down slash that, and then you can say maybe you are just a technical writer and a technical writer full time somewhere you are open for a gig. So you can, it just depends on you personally. What picture do you like? What image do you work with a lot? I run a blog, right? You don't even know whether I'm a backend developer or I'm a front end developer. But that's one of my focus. That's what I want people to know about me. Like I'm a technical writer. So it just depends. You are the one that will train people to know you. That whenever they call your name, they will attach you to whatever you've been posting. So that's it.
All right, thank you very much, Uncle Big Bay. So, for those of you on the call that would like to join our community. I just sent the link to the chat, and also the link also will be added on the description when this video is posted on YouTube. So also to buttress to what Uncle Big Bay said on the profile issue. So you can actually set I okay, let me first say that I'm speaking from a LinkedIn perspective because I don't know what profile you're talking about, if it's Upwork or Fiverr, but let me just say this one. If you're using LinkedIn, and I believe the same concepts also can be applied on different platforms. So if you're using LinkedIn, it
Yeah.
determines on how you position yourself. So how you position yourself is how people will see you online. So you can actually position yourself in two ways, in multiple ways. You can let people know that, okay, I do this and this. And if you don't want that, if you want people to just know you doing just one thing, then you can position yourself doing just that one thing. And how do you do this? For instance, on my own profile, my LinkedIn profile to be specific, on my bio, I wrote software developer specializing in React JS and Electron JS, and also a technical writer. So now I am doing three things at the same time. I am letting whoever is coming to my profile know that I'm a software developer, but I am not just a React developer. While I build web applications with React, I also build desktop applications with Electron JS. And that's not even everything I do. I still write technical articles. So I'm doing three things at the same time with my profile. And even after positioning yourself on your bio in that way, that's not the end. You don't still stop there. You still have to talk about the things you do, because the things you talk about is what we serve as your credibility to people that, okay, this person actually really does what they say they are doing, or what is on their profile, or what they position themselves as. So but if you on your profile you put that you're a content writer and and a React developer. And then on your post, you just put that and then you don't post anything. Anybody coming to your profile, they'll be like, okay, this person is a content writer. Where do I find samples of the content he has written before? Even if you don't have a blog, the content you posted on LinkedIn can be used as can be used as reference to the kind of content you write, your writing style, and if you're worthy to be given a project to work on. And aside from that, and even when you decide that okay, you want to start posting, remember that on your profile you added content writer and React developer, but then you're posting about Java, you're posting about PHP. Whoever is coming to your profile will be like, does this person really know React JS? Is this person even a front end developer? Because all this person or everything this person is posting is about back end development and is Java, PHP, and this person is not even stable on one particular language. What language is this person? Is this person's strong point? They don't know. So, in order for you
Mm,
to position yourself, you have to ask yourself, what you want that you want to for. So make sure majority of your posts are on that particular programming language. On that particular programming language, whatever you're writing or whatever topic you're writing on can also be seen as content writing. So you don't need to stress yourself that okay, now that I'm writing, I'm positioning myself as a Java developer. How do I position myself as a content writer? You put writing about Java, you're already um, doing two things at the same time, or let me see, you're killing two birds with one stone. But the point is, You can also write about different technologies you use, but just make sure that majority of your posts are on the language you want people to see you or you want to be known for. Okay, somebody asked that is posting on LinkedIn necessary? Uncle Big B, what do you have to say about this?
Okay.
Is posting on LinkedIn necessary?
So personally for me, I'll say, okay, can you hear me, Shaydee?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Can you hear me? Okay. All right. So I'll tell you during my presentation. What did you say, Thomas? Okay. So I already said during my presentation that I don't use all these freelance websites like Upwork, Fiverr. I already say like LinkedIn is actually my own office, right? LinkedIn, Syntax, my WhatsApp is my own office. That's where I sell myself to people. So you can leverage on LinkedIn. It depends on you. It might not be necessary for you. You might have another source of getting of getting your clients or getting people to know you. But LinkedIn is, I feel LinkedIn is a better place for me because it works for me. Any article that I've written, I'll just share it there, new content or new articles. So I'll put the topic of like an intro to it, right? So this will help you to to tell people that are visiting your profile that this is what I do. So just imagine I come to your LinkedIn profile and then I check your activities, and the first article I saw is about React, the second one React, the third one React, and then I check another person's profile. Then the first content I see there is a meme, the second one is joke, and maybe the second one is just a random post. So which one are they going to? Which one are you going to advise me to pick if I want to hire a technical writer? So on your LinkedIn is just like your is another like portfolio for you. So you can leverage on your needs and then you post your content. So it might be necessary for you or not necessary for you if you have another channel. But I would say it is necessary if you want to be to get more audience and more gigs. Yeah. So I think the same person is asking a question that I, for me, I'm a content developer and Web3 writer. I write non-technical things about Web3 and I post stuff on React and also things on Web3. Yeah. So I think we actually do the same thing. I'm also a content developer. I also write Web3 and then non-technical things about Web3. Yeah, yeah. So don't say non-technical things about Web3. Also like technical writing because you are mentioning about maybe you are explaining some concepts in Web3, maybe terminologies in Web3, or maybe you are explaining like a maybe an event in Web3. It's still a technical article, right? Because Web3 on its own is a technical term,
It's
right? So
technology.
because it doesn't
Yeah.
contain code, no code articles are technical articles, right? Shady? Non-code articles, they are still technical articles. So there's nothing like non-technical things about Web3, right? So you just have to, just like what you did say, you have to position yourself so that people will see you as a content developer that writes about Web3 as well. So you just have to post regularly. Anything you post on your blog, just share it. Share it on your LinkedIn, share it on WhatsApp, share it on Twitter as well. These are people will know that this this guy is about Web3, this guy is about something, this guy is about anything React, this guy is just this guy. So that's how it is.
All right.
Okay.
Uncle Big B, why you
Yeah.
doing a presentation? You said something that I had a similar experience with, but it skipped my mind. But and now I remembered again. You said something about you applying as a technical writer to companies, writing to companies that you want to write for them, but they don't respond to you.
Yeah.
So I think there was a time I was then I've not gotten any job yet. While learning, I was broke at that point and I had no money to continue learning because there was no money to buy data, obviously. So I decided that, okay, since I know a little bit about tech and I have my own blog on Ashnode where I write articles and I've gotten positive companies and I got response from all of them, but I was still unable to write for them because the topics they told me they gave me to write on were things that I had no experience on, and I'm not interested in those kinds of topic for now. So that also the issue with I think the issue you had with you sending writing to companies, writing for them is okay. Me personally, I made a research first on companies that are accepting guest writers. So after I compiled a list of different companies that accept guest writers, and I made a research on those lists, which of these companies pay their guest writers. Then I filtered the list again to companies that pay their guest writers, and then I sent out. There are some companies that you don't even have to send out. You don't even have to send out emails to. That because I could not find their email anywhere online, and then I searched for example LogRocket. You can write for LogRocket, and LogRocket accepts guest writers every single day. You can also write for Smashing Magazine. Smashing Magazine also accepts writers. So just write LogRocket responded back to me. And the topics they gave me were topics that I had no interest in, and then I have no experience in. They were asking me for topics on DevOps and Web3. And I'm not into Web3 yet. I'm not ready to start learning Web3 yet. And I'm not even a DevOps person. So I was just like, okay, for now, I don't think I'm ready for now. But one thing I noticed about LogRocket is the topic and outline I sent to them, they told me that they already have a lot of content on that particular subject on their blog at the moment. But that I can pitch them another topic, and if that topic is, if they don't have a lot of article on that topic on their blog, they are going to approve it. And if I don't have time to pitch them another topic, then that was when they now gave me a list of all the topics they wanted. But since I could not come up with a topic that nobody have written before on log rockets, that was why I left log rockets. But now after having because after I left Log Rocket, then that was I think I got my first freelance writing job on LinkedIn in my DM without applying safe. So because I post a lot about React and whatever I'm learning on LinkedIn, and plus I have a blog that I think I stopped writing on Ashnode. My last post on Ashnode was in February this year, but most of my writings are basically on LinkedIn. On LinkedIn, so I got my first writing gig on LinkedIn, and then now I'm back to writing articles, but not on my own blog, on Ashton, on the company's blog, which I can even still use as reference to new clients because I am the one they use as the author of those articles. So I think I'm even lost, Seb. I don't know where I'm going again. You can remind me, please. Okay, what was I saying? What was I saying? What was I saying? I'm lost. Let's go to the next question. Somebody said that. How do you?
Okay,
How? Do,
sorry.
okay.
Sorry, I just wanted to make a comment on what you said, like maybe me not getting a reply from those companies, right? So,
All right.
maybe I didn't put it right. What I mean like companies is like is like companies that have a product that I want to write for because I feel like I love writing about a walkthrough of products. So it
Okay.
is product-based companies, not like log rocket. Log rocket you can just apply to them, right? So what I enjoy doing is like checking out the product and then writing how to use it. That's really what I do at Ashton now, right? So maybe like for instance now I wrote to Image Kit, I didn't get the response from them, and then when I started doing those stuff like for free, I just pick a product and then I write about them. For instance, now Cydia, right? They reach out to me and then Image Kit later reached out to me after I started posting. They reached out to me on LinkedIn right? And they didn't even know that I've actually applied before, that I wrote a mail to them and didn't get a mail to them. So my own was more focused on companies that have a product that, okay, I want to write for your own product.
Oh wow.
Just
Yeah.
so that's what I did.
I think this is a new perspective for me, and I think it's something I'd love to try too. But at a point too, I got
Yeah.
one offer from I think AVL that I should write
Oh yeah, 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 yeah,
on
yeah.
their products, and then
Exactly,
yeah, when I
exactly.
went when I went through all their products, the one that I had interest in was something again that was against I don't even know how to explain it. But then I reached out to you on LinkedIn that yeah, this I don't think this is a topic I'm really interested in, but it's a product I'd love to write about. But for now, I don't really understand the product, and once I don't get the importance why me as a person should use that product, how will I be able to convince people to use the product? So first of all, if you're I think I don't know if I'm right, but if you're writing for a product, you should first of all be able to convince yourself why that product is important and why you as a person should use it and how that particular product is beneficial to you. So you know how to sell that product to other people in your article, right? Is that correct, Uncle Big Bay? Uncle Big Bay, are you still with us?
I'm sorry, Shady. Yes, I'm still here, but I feel my network broke for a few seconds.
Okay, so I said that I don't know if I'm right, but if you are going through that route of writing for companies' products or products for companies, you'd first of all be able to use that product and be able to convince yourself why that product is important and how that product have helped or how that product is helpful to you. So you'll be able to know how
Yeah.
to sell that product in your article to your audience, right?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So you must be using that product. You must have like used it before. Let's say for instance now on Azure now, they have some on board, like I think they have up to like 7 onboarded projects now. So if you pick anyone, you build them.
Okay.
If I have a topic to write on a particular project, like open source project, so what I do is I will build with them, build with the product. Then I can create like two accounts. One is for like the build. I'll just build, check how it is. So I'll create another account. Maybe if it requires you to create an account, so the second account you use it to build with your draft, right? You know, it's just like you want to see how Twitter works, like from the registration. So you create it like a fake account first. You see how it is. If you are successful, that means like okay, you can write it. But if you are stuck, you can go back to open source. You can go back to even if it is not open source, developers keep chatting about okay, this is what I'm encountering, and then you can even feature it in your article like okay, if you encounter this bug at this point, this is the solution to it, right? So you must learn about the product first, like know it first, know how it works first before you now say you want to write about it. So yeah, so you must know about the product first.
All right. Thank you very much, Uncle Big
Yeah.
Bay. Um,
So someone said what you just said about the company that reached out to you. Which of the company, please?
okay, I
Did
think
I tell you the company?
that's for me. I was talking about the
Okay,
company that reached out to me uh,
okay,
through LinkedIn, and I think I'm done with the story. I don't. I was
okay,
trying to make a point with it, but then in the middle of the story, I forgot the point I was trying to make.
okay. But that's one good thing about LinkedIn actually. People reach out to your DM. I said it during my presentation as well. When you share your content on Twitter and on LinkedIn, see, I always tell people during my presentation or if we are having like one-on-one talk, I don't apply for writing leads, right? I can't remember the last time I said, okay, I reach out to a company that I was trying to. When I was starting, that was when I was sending emails, good emails to companies, trying to force myself on them just to check out my blog and then give me a chance. But now, no. When if you check my, if you go to Bigbay, check my, and then see my top, my last three content there, you see that it is related to technical writing, right? So why do you want to interview me for things I've been doing? That's just my own mentality because I
Yeah.
feel like if I make noise on the internet, like I'm doing. There was a time I think there was this WhatsApp group that the admin actually reached out to me, right? That people are feeling intimidated because I post every single day. You know, I sent you my presentation, and there was a time I posted every single day for 3 months, every single day, right? So I'm not advising that because it's not good for your health because you might burn out,
Yeah,
right?
it's
And
very
so
exhausting.
I yeah, exactly. So it might not work for you, but I did that for like 3 months. So the admin which are and you are discouraging people that are trying to, just start technical writing or people that are trying to. So I was not like, wait. So because I am, I'm focusing on my own, what I want to become. So it is now a threat to people, right? I didn't stop. If you kick me out of your group, I will use another medium, right? So I didn't stop. I keep doing that. And guess
Yeah.
what? A lot of my recruiters, if I ask them, how do you even find me? They say through your blog. You saw your article. I'm not say which topic. If they tell me, I'll not say, I can't even remember. I have to go and search. I'll not say, oh, this one. And if I read my previous articles, I'll be like, am I the one that wrote this? So that's why I'm always saying like you don't have to be perfect before you start. Don't wait until you know about React, Angular, like you go the in and out of it. Just write about the little things that you have. It's just like you documenting your journey, how you started with use case, how you started with hooks, how you started with compositions, React and all. So it's just a better process. Just write from where you are now. Just focus on where you are now and post online. I can't like I don't know how to say this like tell yourself. That's one important thing, and that's what worked for me. Like tell yourself, put yourself on Twitter, put yourself on LinkedIn. Even if you don't have audience, when I started, I think I have like like 400 followers on Twitter, but I kept on posting, posting, posting. You just need one client. You just need one client, and the story will change. It will give you confidence. That's the truth. Because when I think when my first client, I can't remember my first client, but I feel like each time I get a new client, when they come to my DS, there's one satisfaction that gives me like you give me that validation that I am still relevant, like what I'm doing, I'm still on the right path. Because most times when you write, you get exhausted, you be like, am I even improving? That kind of thought, like as it when you just write the same topic, like the same topic on React, like the company is giving you the same topic on React, and you want to do something else, right? And then before you know it, another client will come. It is even you that will be getting jobs. There are some writing gigs that I don't do, right? There are sometimes that I don't have any writing gigs. I don't have any job on writing. Or now, because I have, done the work on my own personal blog, I kept posting. I kept posting on my personal blog. So if a client asks me, and it was even difficult for me back then because I don't have any company that I've written, maybe I will have to share that blog. The only thing I have to share that I have to share to a client is just my own personal blog. And it doesn't carry much weight, right? Because I manage it myself so I can decide. So, but the moment you have your first client and they publish it, right? That is the good because they know that okay, for you to write for this particular company, you already know the process, like the process of writing. So that means like okay, your grammar, the way you use your grammar is it. So just keep for my own page. So just keep posting on your social. Yeah.
Yeah, and one good thing, why me I even stick to LinkedIn instead of Twitter is because when while I was learning JavaScript, and at that period in time, I didn't have a browsing phone, so the only thing I had was just my laptop. So I decided that because the reason why I'm saying is this is most people now they now know that it is necessary for you to post on LinkedIn, and they now know the opportunities you get when you post on LinkedIn. But what do you post on LinkedIn? They know that okay, yes, when I post on LinkedIn, I can get different opportunities in my DM because me personally, I don't even like applying for jobs. The stress of applying to jobs and you getting rejection emails, some people not even getting back to you. Me, I don't like it. I prefer people coming to my DM with offers, and then me now selecting that, okay, I think I like this one, I like this one. Then I'll set up a call with them. We'll talk about the interview. So when I was learning JavaScript, I didn't go to LinkedIn with the mindset that I was looking for opportunities. I just went with the mindset that I just want to, anything I learn today, like, because usually every day I learn in the morning, then during the rest of the day I just sleep, watch movie or play, because I was, I think ASU was on strike then too. So, and I was not working yet. So whenever I learned something, like, I took LinkedIn as my own personal diary. Whatever I learn each morning, when I'm done studying, I go to my LinkedIn and say, okay, I learned this and this. After saying I learned this and this, then the next paragraph, I will explain those things that I learned in case of people that are having issues or that are also currently learning that same topic but did not really understand that topic. They can also learn from my the way I'll be explaining it. So, and that is how you get posts that people can relate. That's how you create posts that people can relate with, and you get engagement. You don't just go on LinkedIn and say, post a picture of your screen and say HTML tag done and dusted. You won't get any engagement for posts like that. And posts like that is not even telling people if you even know HTML. But when you explain a concept or a tag, or maybe there's a new HTML tag, let me not even say a new HTML. At least you learned something that day. That thing that you learned, tell us and explain that thing. And that's when people will now say, okay, I think this is what this person learned. This person is trying to explain what they learned to us. So that way, anybody that's also having issue with that topic will comment on your post. But now, don't even write it because you want to get comments or because you want to get offers. Write it with the mindset that you, like, LinkedIn is what you use as an accountability tool for yourself. That whenever you learn something, whenever you are done with it, just go on LinkedIn, post about what you learned, explain that thing that you learned. Then the next day again, you continue with that. This was what I was just doing. No, I did not even know that I was going to get offers. And before I built my first JavaScript project, which was even a to-do list, I'd already gotten like 5 international interviews. And those international interviews were looking for React developer. But because I was posting about JavaScript, and React also is a JavaScript framework, and you have to have strong knowledge in JavaScript before learning React. I already got interviews. I told me I would just attend the interview. They were asking JavaScript question, I will answer. And when they now tell me to talk about React, then I'll tell them that no, that I've not started learning React yet. And they were still impressed. They'll be like, okay, we'll keep a tab on your profile. When we see that you are good with React, we'll reach back to you. There was a guy, or the guy was a guy that reached out to me on LinkedIn from London, but it was supposed to be a freelance gig. I had already started learning React then too. I still continue with the same method. I was posting about React every single day, everything I learned. I was not posting, you don't have to be a professional. Now, I was not posting that. I was not posting, or let me say, I was not positioning myself as people to see me as a professional. I was positioning myself as a learner, that this was what I learned today, and I'm here to share it with you guys. So I learned this, and this is what they do. This is why you should use them, and these are the scenarios you might need them. Those are the things I just explained. And yet, people, there was even a company from London that reached out to me. They interviewed me and they accepted me, and I was like, wait, are these people now aware that I'm still learning React? Because I don't understand. On my posts, it's obvious that I am learning React, yet you interviewed me. During my interview, I told you I was still learning React, and then you still accepted me. I don't understand. What are these people up to? So you don't have to position yourself as a professional. It is fine. It is okay for you to position yourself that, okay, you are still learning this thing, you're not good with it yet. You don't need to be a professional to start posting on LinkedIn. So that's all I'm going to say. Uncle Big Bay, is there anything else you'd like to add before we end this session? This session was supposed to end by 12, but this is
Yeah.
past 12 already.
Okay. I think you really done justice to that part, and I think we only have two more questions left in the chat. One is from Suzanne. She said, "What are the processes of writing?" Okay, so there's no, you know, there's no fixed formula to writing an article, right? You don't have a fixed process or a particular process. So it just depends on number one, you as a technical writer and the company you are writing for, right? So, and let's say now as individual, like as a technical writer now, personally, what I do is if I want to write an article, so there are two types of articles, right? So the first one is the one that has to do with you building like a project. Maybe you want to build a project in that article. And number two is maybe you want to just explain a concept in your article. So in the case of you explaining a concept, so the first thing I do is I do research on that particular topic. Like for instance, I can search that particular topic on Google. So if I search it on Google, I'll see the top results. I'm going to read them. Then I'll see what those articles focuses on. Do they focus on this part of the topic? And which part? I'll look for the part that they are missing so that I'll add it to my own article. And that will be a plus for me, right? So I'll take their own approach to explain that concept. What are the mistakes that they've done and what can I do better in their own, like if I am to write that article, because you don't want to write blindly and then you write an article that is not even better than the ones that are out there, right? So that's why you should do your research first. So after doing your research, you already have an idea of what you want to cover. Then you write something called an outline, right? So an outline is just like you sketching out how your article is going to be, like writing the heading, the subheading, and maybe you want to include the table or not. So down to like conclusion or maybe wrapping up. So after doing the outline, so you write your first draft. So your first draft is just like you writing like what it's like writing a description of each section. So you can just write maybe introduction, you write introduction. You don't bother about maybe getting your grammar right or maybe getting the words right actually. And then when you are done with your first draft, you check your article. Did you cover all the topics? Did you list all the points? So when you are done with the first draft, so you can now go again, check your article, then you can now use all these tools that we mentioned earlier, like Grammarly, eBook, to just improve your grammar, and also you can now expand those sentences. So when you are done with this article, you can now leave it like 1 or 2 days. Then you come back to it with a fresh eye, and then you read again, proofread any mistakes that you can catch, you correct them. So when you are done, you can publish or you submit it to your client for review. So, but majorly, companies will have their own editorial team that will edit your own article, and then they will give you back. They will send it back to you to correct those mistakes. They will give you some feedback, and then you correct them, and then you send them back. So that's how it works. So, but when it has to do with like you building with a product, like maybe you want to build language, right? So what I firstly do is I'm going to build that landing page. I'll see how it's going to be like at the end of this article. So if you check most of my article, if it has to do like building, you will see like a section of like demo. So you want to show the user what they are going to build along with the article. So what they will build at the end of this article, you show them. So after building, then you now write your outline. After writing your outline, you already have an idea of the process of building it. Maybe firstly, you have to create an account on Firebase and then connecting it to your own JavaScript or React. So that's how that's the process of writing. So if you like, if my own works for you can do it that way, and you can come up with your own as well. Anyone that works for you. So that's just the writing process that I use. So the last question is Uncle Big Bay. Please, what can you say about Twitter threads? So, Twitter threads, I think it's a good thing. I think it's a good thing, but what I just observe with Twitter threads is like doesn't it doesn't really work for me because when I write a long thread, it gets a lot of less traction, right? But with some people, it gets a long, like they have large, you know, fractions. They have a very large fractions. But what actually works for me is blogging. If I write blog, I know people will come, they will react, they will add their comments. I even have a lot of people that if I write any tutorial, they are going to complete that tutorial and then share it with me, like, okay, we've completed it. Like they build everything with the article. So I feel like you just have to figure out your own strength. Is it blog that works for you or thread, Twitter thread? I have a friend that if the person creates, even if it's just one tweet, you get a lot of transactions. But if it comes to like writing articles, that's not their own strength, right? So if your strength is like explaining stuff on Twitter, then go for it. And if your strength is like blogging, then go for it. So I won't say Twitter thread is bad or good. Yeah.
Yeah,
So that's
even
it for me.
even me too. I started with Twitter. I started writing with this 100 days of code challenge. That was where I started. I'll post what I learned, but I just make sure that even if I'm writing a thread, I just make sure my thread is no more than
Yeah.
three thread. My post is no more than three threads because me personally, I don't like reading long threads. So why should I
Mhm.
create something that I don't like as a person? So I create only things that I like. Then even
Yeah.
though I was not getting a lot of engagement, although even till now I have a small amount of followers, but that was not my purpose of doing. My purpose of doing it is just for me to post something and then put myself out there, whether somebody is commenting on it or not, whether somebody is liking it or not. I don't care. I just know that
Mhm.
let me just put myself out there. There's a high chance that when people search for my name on Google, my Twitter profile will come up. And then when my Twitter profile come up, and there are some people that I read on Twitter that because of the kind of things they post on Twitter, they didn't get a particular job. So you should be
Yeah.
mind if like me now on Twitter, I saw myself as this serious person. That I'm the only one. There was a time, especially during NSAS, everybody was posting about NSAS. It's only me that is posting about tech. I was like, oh no, this Twitter thing not for me. It's like I'm the only serious person here. Everybody here, they're just here to catch cruise. So I left Twitter. That was when I now went to LinkedIn, and LinkedIn have been working very fine for me, and I've been getting much more engagement on LinkedIn than I used to get on Twitter. So I just stopped posting on Twitter. That since LinkedIn is my own kind of thing, I just decided to continue with LinkedIn. So you just have to try a few things first. You don't have to be an expert in all of them, or let me say, you don't have to be using all of them at the same time. You can try LinkedIn. If LinkedIn is not working for you, definitely LinkedIn works for everybody. You can also try Twitter. So what you now use to decide is whether you should stay on LinkedIn or you should stay on Twitter is between LinkedIn and Twitter, which one works best for you? Is it Twitter or is it LinkedIn? If it's Twitter, then I recommend you sticking with Twitter and then posting more. Or if you still want to do both, I would still recommend you to pay more attention to your Twitter profile since that's what works better for you than on LinkedIn. Even me, once in a while, I still post on my Twitter, but LinkedIn is where I post once anything comes to my head or to my mind. LinkedIn is the first place I go to talk about those things. So that's all from. Okay, somebody is asking, please. I think this will be the last question we'll be attending to right now because we're about to end this session. Wait for
Sorry, hello.
We can hear you, Blessing.
Okay. Sorry, the stop section is going to go to an end. I don't know. I think I need help, and I want you to look at it from your perspective, since you're already a developer. Presently, I'm a teacher. I teach English language. I write articles a lot and a bit articles. So actually, I was looking at that as a perspective for me. But today's seminar or meeting actually made me realize that to go for interpreter writing, you have to have knowledge of concepts, developer, and all that, and all these developing things. So that's why I was asking the question that, okay, if I really want to go fast, presently I don't even know where, which area I want to go into because I didn't have idea of all of these things you're talking about. So from your perspective as a developer and as a tutor, what do you think I should start with right now? Like right now, I don't know where to. I don't know what to write about. I don't know where to because I don't have idea about anything developed. The
Uncle Bigbay have answered this question when somebody asked a question about um, writing for the medical or pharmaceutical field. The same thing applies with you too. So, as an English teacher, which you are, you can write about um, English concepts or topics. There's one lady I'm following on Instagram. So she posts about two different words that you're supposed two different words. And when to use them. Two different words that have the same meaning, but that you're not supposed to use. That they have different time when you should use them and when you should not use the other one. So things like that you can, since you're starting with writing, you can start writing with those kind of things. Obviously, people don't really want to learn what is a noun, what is a verb. They want to learn the practical aspect of it and how to apply them. That was what we've been taught in school. What is a noun? What is a verb? But how do we apply them as we speak? When we speak, how do we apply them? You can decide to write, okay, on your blog. That's what you want to dedicate your blog to, the practical aspects of English language. Some words, then you give practical example of when you should use them or compare a word with another word, when this word should be used and when it should not be used. And you know there are some words that there are some words that have the same meaning, but you're not supposed to use them in a particular context. You should use the other one in a particular context. And even till now, I'm still having issues with whenever I want to make a sentence, like especially when the sentence has to do with past tense. I'm still having issues with using has and been together. I don't know if they are correct or not. Am I even supposed to use has and been together? For instance, an email has been sent to. So because there was a time I had that you're not supposed to use two different past tense word in a sentence. So those things like that that confuses people, the practical aspects, you can dedicate your articles to such things and explain them better. I hope that explanation helped. And also, so somebody, this is the last question we'll be taking for today. Somebody said, when did you start active engagement on LinkedIn? Well, I cannot remember. I can't remember. I think last year. I'm not sure, but I think I became very active on LinkedIn last year. I don't know when, if it was January or February, but it was last year I became very, very active on LinkedIn. Yeah. Yeah, it's last year. All right. So that's all for today. Thank you very much for your time. And I know we took more than the time we said we were going to take. We took an extra 30 minutes. So I hope I hope you're not angry that we took an extra 30 minutes of your time.
So, the player.
All right. Thank you very much, Uncle Big P. Thank you very much, everyone, for
Thank you,
joining
Shaydee.
us on this
God
call.
bless you.
You're welcome, boss.